Thank you very much for the stage and also for organizing. Could you please confirm that you are able to see my screen? Excellent. Thank you very much. So I would say let's get started. So good morning, everyone. And once again, thank you, Mohammed, for organizing this. It's my pleasure to be here. The aim of this session is to share with you all some practical tips and tricks which will help you implement your process mining projects on Microsoft platform efficiently. My name is Lucas. My background is in process improvement. I'm working for an IT consulting company in Canada, delivering improvements to various customers across North America. What we will be spending the next roughly 45 or 40 minutes about, it's gonna be all about these 3 points. First one, the process mining architecture, or basically what are the pieces we need to interconnect in order to deliver process mining projects efficiently. Then we're gonna talk about the methodology, how to do these kind of things. And of course, we will have some hands-on in the tool for the analyze phase or for the analysis, process mining analysis itself, sharing some of the best practices. If there is one piece of information to remember, and that might surprise you a little bit, in case you want to implement process mining project successfully, the first and most important thing to do is to forget about your process mining project at the moment. So forget about process mining in case you want to do process mining. The simple, most important thing to focus at the beginning is to focus at the goal. Like, you always keep in mind what is your goal, what you are trying to achieve. We have seen this often in process mining projects or in process improvement projects in general. It can get messy and it will get complicated. Super recommendation or a strong recommendation from my side, which I can give you. If you will ever find yourself in this kind of situation, make a pause, take a break, zoom out, and try to think, what is your goal you are trying to achieve? Forget about all of the tools and methodologies for a moment, of course, and try to zoom out and understand what I'm trying to achieve, what's my direction, where I'm going to. So if there is one piece of information to remember from today's session, it's this one. Don't be afraid to take a break and focus on what's your goal and where you are heading to with your activities. All right, moving on. So what are the elements we need to interconnect when doing this process optimization with the process mining tools and methodologies? At first, we are having some source systems or system of records. It could be SAP, Salesforce, Oracle, ServiceNow, or any other homegrown system where we have various kind of data or basically a digital trace of actions that we are doing as a users, either as a human beings or maybe some bots or automated solutions. Or to speak like in a simple terms, what is needed to do? Basically, we need to get this data. Ideally, first put them into some staging tables where we will clean the data, make sure that they are in a good shape, and after that, transform them into a format that process mining software is able to work with. We call it event log. This is the standard that is used. So get the data, transfer them into the event log. Once the data are ready, it could be loaded into the process mining software for the process analysis. And of course, we can work with several event logs, analyzing several processes. And this is the high level overview of how the flow of actions will look like. After that, of course, once we are doing the analysis, it's not about doing the analysis, it's about finding the actionable insights or delivering the results of our actions, trying to understand what are the bottlenecks or what are the problems in our process. In most of the cases, these kind of problems or these kind of findings are communicated to relevant stakeholders or some decision makers, to business users or some technical users via BI tool, because this is the tool which is more powerful with communicating the specific type of information. Of course, we can expose users also to this like process mining solution, like for example, the desktop application Power Automate Process Mining. It's quite rare, or I would say less common. The main like center of gravity for communicating the information is happening in the BI tool. Of course, it's Power BI in this context. Moving on. So to summarize, what are the main elements or three main elements of the Power Automate Process Mining solution? There are three of them, and we should see them as or we can use the analogy of a Swiss Army knife. So there are different kind of tools which we can use for specific tasks, and each of them is focusing, or each of them is good on some different task, and we will combine the unique strengths of each of them. First one is the ETL, extract, transform, and load, basically get the data. Strong recommendation, use Fabric. Second one, the analysis, the process analysis itself with all of its specifications and specifics. It would be the desktop application of Power Automate Process Mining. And the third one is, last but not least, BI or Power BI reporting. So all of these findings that we uncover in our analysis, we all need to communicate to either like business users or basically the broader audience, whoever is relevant for our process. Okay, we have briefly talked about technologies or what we are trying to achieve, what we are trying to do. And right now we will talk about the methodology of how to deliver these kind of process improvements, or how we will improve processes with usage of this advanced technology. For that, we strongly recommend to use DMake methodology. This is the, I would say, standard methodology from Lean Six Sigma practices. Those of you who are familiar with this, it's pretty much the same thing, just on steroids. Let's put it in a simplified way. So DMake stands for define, measure, analyze, improve, and control. And when we will talk about like what specifically is behind each phase, so for the define phase, we need to identify what is the goal we are trying to achieve, what are the problems we are trying to address, what kind of KPIs are relevant for me, who are the, let's say, relevant stakeholders, what kind of people I need to bring in, what are the KPIs I can fill, for example, the process mining canvas, having the understanding what systems needs to be interconnected, and so on and so forth. Of course, I will be often using this all M365 or Microsoft Copilot for this. So once I have defined what I want to achieve or what would be my goal for this specific process mining project or process mining practice, then I gradually move into the measure phase, which is basically get the data. Not just get the data, but let's say ETL, extract the data, transform the data, and then load them also into the process mining tool. So that would be for the measure phase. So get the data into the right format that is needed for the process mining tool to work with. Next phase is analyze. It is basically uncover the problems, use this X-ray on your processes, isolate the problem, identify what is causing the problem, and basically generate these actionable insights. So once I have sufficient understanding of my process and understanding of the bottlenecks, I am able to act on those findings and basically start working on improving my process. There are several categories of improvements. One of them is basically the hard work or hard findings, which is okay. I need to do something. For example, in Power BI, set up some data alerts based on defined KPIs. Maybe do something or create a new application, or change some of the application, or maybe create some automation solution, and so on and so forth. There is also another category of possible improvements, which is like, okay, let's say the users needs to be retrained, or there is some reassignment of tasks needed, either between departments, or maybe canceling some kind of tasks, or maybe splitting the task into two different tasks. And there is a lot of things that could be done. That is for let's say different kind of discussion. So there are various kind of improvements which we can address based on the given problem. And then last phase is control, which means, of course, me as an analyst, or basically any kind of business user, we would like to have the full visibility into what's happening. If I decide to take some action, are the numbers getting better? Are they going either increasing or decreasing? In a way, I want to see them. And of course, I want to see this continuously updated, have the ideally real time or near real time if needed reporting. So I will see how does it look like. Briefly, this would be it for the process intelligence flywheel. So as you see, this is not just one of project, but more as a practice and building a muscle. Because of course, once we address some of the problems, we are basically again at the beginning, but not completely at the beginning. But the situation has changed, and there will be, of course, a lot of iterations of this flywheel, of this circle, and there are, of course, a lot of iterations in between of each phase. For example, between define and measure, between measure and analyze, and between all of these phases. I will pause for a moment in here and ask you a quick question. Do you have any questions so far? All right, I take the silence as a no. So moving on, when we're talking about this methodology, or after talking about the methodology, let's talk a little bit more. And this is the main topic of this presentation today, which is focusing on the analyze phase, to sharing with you some practical tips and tricks for how to perform the analysis in the Power Automate process mining tool itself. What it consists of when I need to do the analysis. So we assume that we have done the initial definition of our KPIs, which we are trying to address. What is the main problem? What is the main goal of our initiative? And also we get the data that are loaded into the tool itself. First point, quite logical, is the validation. Validation of the data that we see, not just whether for example, some rows in the table are correct, but also, for example, the sequence of activities, whether I do have a correct sequence of activities, sufficient amount of them, whether it makes sense for me as a business user. Next one would be to kind of split the data set into strategic and operational pathways. What I'm talking about. When I want to address process improvements, I want to work with process data that are completed, and I don't want to include any outliers, in a way that, for example, when I exported the data until today, there are a lot of cases that are still running, that are not finished, and so on. And this can blur my reporting. So, for example, I will extract the data for the last year or last 2 years, and in case, or because I want to be as precise as possible, I will just filter the complete cases, or cases that finished properly. So I will be able to analyze the end-to-end process. And then the second part would be the operational. So in case I need to take some actions for the cases that are still running, that are active, I will be able to work with this. And I want to see this in a like two separate basically views. That's the terminology of Parvato and process mining, or two separate stages of the analysis. So this is normally the very first split of the data set that we do. And after that, for all of the other KPIs or actions, we start either with one or second part of the data set. And we will have a look on, or we will have a look at how to do this split in the most efficient way. And then, of course, we will be addressing the KPIs from the defined phase, one after the other, and some key features we will use: process map metrics, root cause analysis, custom metric, and so on and so forth. All right, enough PPT slide. Let's jump directly into the Power Automate process mining. And I'll bring it up. Okay, here we are. I jumped directly into one of the views, and this is what you will see, or what any user will see right after you will load your data set. What I brought in here is the pretty standardized order to cache process. I think this is one of the pretty standard templates that is provided from Microsoft by default. So if you will load one of these default processes from Microsoft that are available out of the box, you will see this basically. The sequence of activities, just to make a little bit more familiar, is like, okay, we have some order at the beginning. There is something happening with the order all the way down. Like we want to mark the order as a complete, right? So this is the like, let's say, order to cache process simplified for some kind of bike shop. The docket contains also even like assemble bicycles and part to engineering, like these kind of things. When I start seeing, or me as a process analyst, when I start seeing this initial data set loaded into the application, the first thing what I do, and strongly recommend you for this validation, is to always spend the first 30 minutes, maybe even 1 hour, with playing around with the data. I know it's very tempting to jump right after seeing some kind of problem, or going right after some KPIs. Strong recommendation is to forget for a moment about these KPIs, just play around with the data, switching between different kind of like metrics that are available on the process map. So this is the process map. I will not go through all of the details, what these numbers mean. For example, okay, right now I have the total count, switching to case count, so I see how many cases went through, also with these arrows in between the particular activities. My main job right now is to validate the data, either the statistics or the process map, whether it makes sense, and also validate the correct sequence of the activities. The best way how to do it is to switch between these metrics to see, for example, the main backbone of the process. Does it make sense to me as a business user? Do I see anything suspicious? Also, check out the timings, like mean duration. With this either halo effect or the thickness of the line, it already gives me some clue, like, okay, when talking about duration, there might be some kind of problems here, but I want to, let's say, click further, explore deeper. So these are the best things what I can do. Also, not just talking about the sequence of activities, but using this mining attribute based on my email level attributes that are available. For example, I can see how it works in between the departments. Okay, I have just 3 of them because it's simplified, or simple process. So this is pretty logical and pretty much straightforward. This would be it for playing around with process map. And then, of course, switching into, for example, rework count. Just within a few clicks, I'm already getting pretty good, let's say, understanding of the process, which is super important, especially for processes that I'm not that much familiar with, or I don't know that much about. So I immediately see with this halo effect that something significant, for example, for the rework count, is happening here in this part of my process. And then, of course, when I'm going through the statistics, I will have a look at all of the possible statistics. Important to mention here, statistics that are available here in the Power Auto and Process Mining are not meant to be provide or to be used as kind of BI dashboards that I will have some relevant piece of information. Of course, the piece of information here is relevant, but the main aim for business users is to consume this information via the Power BI, that is tool directly connected to it. But here, the main aim or main way how I consume the statistics here is that will help me to better understand the process, help me as a process analyst to better craft the analysis, so I will have the understanding of what kind of data are in there, what are the values, and some statistical information. After I just click through into whatever I'm interested in. For example, I see, okay, for the attribute model, I have 6 values, minimum frequency, maximum frequency, and so on and so forth. And once I'm familiarized more with these kind of things, there is one interesting and powerful functionality called case influence. Out of the box, without doing any kind of analysis, I am able to go here into the case influence and check the metric type. Let's say I am interested in case duration or rework count or whatever out of the box metrics is for me. And I immediately see, without doing any analysis, just 2 clicks away, that for the value Versa from the model for bicycles, right, it has negative case influence by 35%. So it is increasing or significantly increasing the case duration, my selected metric, in a very negative way. Also, for the brand Cruiser, again, I have very negative influence. I see the mean value is around 5 days and 11 hours. If I check it the other way around, on the other hand, the brands, let's say Turbo and Mont, they are having either 20% or 15% of positive influence on case duration, and the mean value is let's say 23 hours. That is big difference. So I see that there might be something with modeling and brands, with model and brand, that I will need to have a look at later on during my analysis. And I'm already starting to understand that, okay, so when talking about duration, it's very likely that model and brand will have some influence or significant influence on either positive or negative case duration. What else is in there? I always check at the beginning is the variants. Variant is the unique, or one variant is the one unique way how the process was executed. One unique path of actions or sequence of the steps. With these tiles, I see here in the center, I have the abbreviations of the steps. So I see, okay, confirm order and what's happening. The legend is on the right hand side. When doing the initial data validation, I recommend to find some, for example, crazy variant. In our case, it's variant number 16, or one case. I am able to deep dive right away into the sequence of steps. And basically for these crazy variants, let's just follow up this order in your system of records, whatever the systems are, and validate whether what you see here in this process mining tool is really reflecting the reality. Often it leads into some kind of improvements or changes when creating the event log logic. And of course, you can use this cases table with having all of the statistical information here. This one is relatively small, pretty straightforward process. In real life, we are having dozens of attributes, so dozens of columns to the right. I remember one process where we needed to have 150 attributes, 150 columns. It was quite big analysis, so it can get also massive or robust when analyzing or validating some of the data. Of course, we can do partial validation in Power BI directly, but for doing the initial steps, strongly recommend to do it here with this variant functionality. and understand of what's the sequence of the activities. And we can just switch not just between activity names, but also the departments, changing the metrics, and so on and so forth. So this is the nice thing for the initial data validation. And the next step after the data validation would be, okay, let's split the data set into these two logical subsets that will be, let's say, strategical and operational. So I will filter out on the complete cases and incomplete cases. What I see here at the bottom center is this like initial statistics that I have 100% of cases and 100% events in my data set. This is the default view that is available right after the import. And the best way how to do this kind of split is go into this process context. All right, it's taking a little bit of time. It should be available right away. Okay, come on, here we go. And we go directly into this case categorization. I had it mentioned also on the slide. So in the case categorization, we will start with the categorization of finished. And I want to add a filter for finished cases. And for that, there is this specific filter, case level filter called an event filter. What I will do, I will just filter based on the activity name. And I will start, okay, consider finished cases when the activity starting one is always confirm order. So that one is simple. And in my event log, in my data set, the cases that I have loaded are ending with these four possibilities. Charge customer card, collect payment, make order as complete, or package and ship bicycle. And let's say that based on my understanding of the process, or what I consider from the business perspective of complete process, is mark order as complete. And this is the business decision. It might be different for, let's say, even when I'm having the same kind of process between two different companies, they might have different definition. And this definition may change in my company over time. And it happens that I will be having some very advanced analysis, created dozens of views, and I don't want to filter each of them in case business decide to change this logic. That's why I do this here, like at the level that is just above all of the views, and I will be always calling this kind of logic when I'm doing the analysis. So I will select this one, mark order as complete. I click save. Right now I see some statistics that okay. From my data set, I see 96% of cases as finished, 4% of cases as running. Okay, I have some initial split. Click on save. So this is how I have categorized my cases. I have defined what I consider from the business perspective as complete case or as incomplete or unfinished case. Oh, it's somehow super slow for the moment.
It's a normal behavior, Lucas. Take your time. It's okay.
Yeah. Well, for me, I'm used to very much faster responsiveness of this tool. I'm not sure why it's taking so long, especially I haven't done any massive data processing operation. This is like clicking two things. Interesting. Okay. Oh, come on. You know what's interesting? Like when I was testing this like an hour ago, it was like working without any issues. It was like loading right away.
Yeah. In demo for
The
client, it is normal behavior.
Yeah, it
All
is like the
errors, slowness, everything you can imagine, you will
how is
face
it
it.
called? Yeah, how is it called? The demo
But
gods are not on my side, or how is it called?
but most of our attendees have heavy expertise in Power Platform, so it seems
Yeah,
normal for us.
I
If you
know,
would
like,
like to refresh your page and start again, it's okay.
yeah, like the point is like I have not an option because this is the Power Automate Process Mining desktop application. So come on. All right. So maybe if there are any questions in the meantime, let's just take them now until or while it's loading. If there is anything, just feel free to let me know. Or actually, I will check if there is anything in the chat as well.
Yeah, yeah. As usually do, we are working on building a knowledge base. So
Yeah,
at the end of the session, we take all questions and trying to answer it in organized way to be
yeah.
reference to our attendees. But if you would like to answer it now, it's okay. Uh, it's
Okay, it
working
is
now.
loaded. It is
Yeah.
loaded. So that's the first. That was the first step. And then going into the process context again, we have done this case categorization, and what we need to do right now is to create the custom metric that we will be always referencing or that we will be filtering. So let's call it complete cases, for example. There is this specific formula. I know from top of my head because I use it very often. This is not the common M language that is standard for the Power Platform. This is specific scripting language that is used just in Power Automate process mining for now. That's the situation the way it is. There is complete documentation for this kind of scripting language. It's relatively easy even for myself. Like, I am not a pro coder or I'm like typical low code person. I was able to pick up this scripting language quite fast, and this is the way, or one of the best ways how to use it is in this like custom metrics, which is one of the most powerful tools here in Power Automate process mining, because via these custom metrics we are able to define specific KPIs for the particular customer or for the particular business, and whatever we need to address, mainly for specific like duration in between activity A and activity B. Somebody works it in work days, somebody in calendar days. There are some specific conditions, sequences, or whatever relevant. We are able to define it with custom metric. So I have defined my let's say my business definition of the complete case or incomplete case, and I have also created the custom metric which is referencing me to this finished case categorization, right? And what I will do right now, I still have 100% of my data, 100% of cases, 100% of the events. So I will slice and dice the cake, and I will add filter. I want to do it on the case level, and I will call the metric filter because I have defined it as a custom metric, and I have defined it on a case level, not on an event level. So I will call this case metric complete cases equal to true, and I see I am coming down to this 96%. I click apply because always when I select the filter, if I want to have it applied, I need to click on that apply, and I see at the bottom here I have 96% of the cases and roughly 97% of events. And what I will do right now, I want to save the view. And normally this is one of the first typical KPIs or one of the first typical views that needs to be created. I strongly recommend to agree on this naming convention, starting with, for example, 001 or 100, like three numbers, and let's say complete cases. Also, one of the best practices is to agree on this naming convention, because as you will be more mature with this process mining analysis, you will end up with dozens of views, and it makes sense to have or agree on some kind of logic right away. So I'm saving this as a complete cases. What I can do as well is to invert the filter. So I go into the filter, instead of equal to true, I can say equal to false. I click apply, and here I will have just 4% of the cases and 3% of the events. Again, I will save as, and let's call it 002 incomplete cases. Incomplete cases. I will save it. All right, so right now what I've done, actually I will go one level above. I will go among my processes. So what I have in here is basically the default view. And okay, I did some testing previously, but I have split it various stages of analysis. I have my complete cases in here. I have my incomplete cases in here. So I would be able to switch in between these views as I need. Of course, I'm able to do all kind of interlink, for example, based on some countries or based on some, I don't know, specific brand or any kind of behavior I want to isolate and investigate. And I basically start from here. Like this is the first recommended step which I recommend to do, and after that go through your analysis through all of the KPIs and do all of the, let's say, hard work and heavy lifting that is in there. This is typically the first step, which is often like done differently than through this case categorization and custom metric combination of these two functionalities. And if you do it this way, it can save you a lot of changes and updates on unnecessary updates in the future. That would be it for the initial data analysis. I would say for my slides, that would be it. General remark from my side is, do not trust me, challenge me. In case you think that, okay, you can do something differently or you have some kind of recommendations or anything, the general recommendation would be to mark it down or basically go into this community.powerplatform.com. There is this process mining session. I am active there. I go there at least once a week, answer some of the questions. I'm, let's say, eager to find people where we will be sharing some interesting use cases, addressing some problems together and building our knowledge together. And of course, in case you have some further questions, feel free to reach out. And if possible, I would like to right now go into the chat and answer the questions that appear there, or basically answer some further questions that you have. Does it make sense, Mohammed?
Yeah, it's okay. Thank you so much, Lucas, for this informative session. It's very interesting topic, mainly related to process in Power Automate. So let's start with the first questions. Abdullah Latibi is asking you, hi Lucas, how do you recommend handling flow across multiple environments? If the question will take more time, you can answer it on the chat later on. However, you can answer it now. It's up to you.
I will. Let's do it right now, one after the other. How do you recommend handling flows across multiple environments? General practice, speaking specifically for process mining projects or Power Automate process mining tool, we go basically directly into the production. And the way how we handle these kind of things is that if I go into the architecture slide, give me a second, we will work with, excuse me, it's taking a little bit of time. If we go into this architecture slide, here. The way how we do it, first we do the for the development and testing, we extract the data that are, let's say, worth of 1 week or 1 day or 1 month of data. And we create this, let's say, even log A. We do a couple round of iterations directly in the production system. So we test all of these interconnections between these systems. And then we either, let's say, enhance this even log A with 2 years worth of data or 1 year worth of data, or we create completely new event log that will be separated structure, and we continue with some kind of development for and testing for the event log A, and whatever is kind of validated, then we enhance the event log with further data. So this is not like standardized separated environments for development, testing, and production. Right we do everything right in production, and then we work either with this like different version of event log or with enhancing the event log. I hope I answered this question. If not, just please feel free to comment it at the end, or basically feel free to reach out. Second one would be, is there a maximum number of flows I can create or own in my Power Automate environment? Um, the simple answer is I don't know, because this is not Power Automate. This is Power Automate process mining. Maybe this is something different that you wanted to address. I am not that much proficient on Power Automate specifically, but when talking about Power Automate process mining, no, there are no limitation with the number of event logs or number of, let's say, to my knowledge, number of data sources that you can use. In reality, it's just kind of connected to the number of business systems you use, and you work with these staging tables, and you can connect basically anything in Fabric. So far on my implementations, we have connected maximally or interconnected like 12 source systems. Most of them were homegrown, and we used this process warehouse. It was SQL Server, and then we connected like one database, or we used SQL Server connection into the Power Automate process mining. So that one was simplified. And of course, it got a little bit more tricky when we connected also the Power BI stuff and several other data sources as well.
Yeah, thank you, Lucas. I have a little bit addition here. First, I really appreciate your answer. This is the professional answer. If anyone don't have the answer, I don't know is the correct one. No need to try to answer it if you don't sure about it. So my answer mainly related to Khalid about maximum number of flows. It's about 600 flow you can own in your environment, even it's in your free or paid tenant. Also, you can find all details about limitation and maximum numbers of flows and maximum number of actions and maximum number of how many flow can I use in my environment. You can find all details in Microsoft Learn. Is your official reference about for the vendor about your tool. So this is my recommendation if you would like, because this limitation can be changed. We have 3 types of limitation. It may be boundaries. We can't increase this limit. Maybe threshold. You can increase this limit, but it will affect your the performance of your flow. So your guide to get any limitation about your tool from the vendor official website. So I will share it later on, all details about this, to make it as a reference for you. Okay, so the next questions from Michael Hanna. He welcome Lucas. What are the most common mistakes people make when building their first Power Automate flow? I believe this is a very important questions, because if anyone just newbie or beginner to use Power Automate or flow process in general, he need to learn from the mistakes that we already faced during implementing flows, whatever the tools. But it is general and very important and business question. You can ask it. You can answer it, Lucas, if you have the time. Thank you so much.
Actually, thank you, Mohammed. I'm really glad that you have this Power Automate expertise. I don't feel, again, confident enough or experienced enough to answer this, because this is the Power Automate question for Power Automate flows. I am quite directly, I'm not that much experienced on Power Automate itself. This is the Power Automate process mining, which is the add-on to Power Automate. So actually, Mohammed, if you have any answer or good answer, like what are the typical mistakes when building their first Power Automate flows, feel free to answer that one, please, as well.
Okay, great. Hamna, I just will give you the secret to build any application, not just a flow. Just focus on business need and keep it simple, and try to document everything and make it documented and get approved from your business owner before implementing your flow. This is a secret key for implementing any application, business application or flow or even dashboard or report. Focus on business need and requirement and get approval from your business owner before implementing. You can present to him proof of concept. You can present some process flow as Mr. Lucas showed to us today and learn from you today, documentation, and make business requirement clear in a document file before implementation. Will save your time, you'll save your effort, you will save your cost. So focus on understanding business requirement correctly. Okay, John Kamal, he asking about, he just say informative session. I can't agree anymore. Yes, it is very informative session from Lucas about business process. May Azam, she asking about, is process map a new feature in Power Automate? Lucas, you
Yes.
present a process map now, and it is very interesting topic to us, and maybe a new topic to us, because we just open make.powerautomate.com and trying to use a template to build our flow to send emails, to save files from email in OneDrive, something like this, using the current implementation. But in big business process and in big enterprise companies, you have to build your flow as Mr. Lucas showed today. You can add, Mr. Lucas, mic over to you. If you have any addition, you can add it.
Yeah, I would like to add, I'm not sure if I'm getting this 100% right. I think we need to differentiate or distinguish between two different things, because maybe it's not 100% clear enough. We have Power Automate, but Power Automate, you can have either the desktop application or you can have the cloud flows and so on. And Power Automate is basically like also RPA stuff or some automations that you will do. Power Automate is something that that will help you to automate your tasks. And the Power Automate process mining, the tool which we are talking about right now, is a little bit different one, or the aim of this tool is different. Yes, we are able to see this process map or the sequence of activities that happen in, let's say, ERP or CRM systems of any kind of like business system, right? And the main point is like, first we apply this like X-ray vision into our processes, and on top of it, we are able to, for example, start with some automating of or some kind of automation of the process, and we can decide whether we will do it as a cloud flow or desktop flow. Ideally, preferably as a cloud flow wherever possible. But this is a little bit different topic, and this is not the Power Automate desktop flow. This is Power Automate process mining tool, which is like a Power Automate process mining is add-on to Power Automate. Even when you check the licensing web page, you will see, or you need to go through add-ons on Microsoft official page, that okay, there is this Power Automate, you have some, let's say, RPA capabilities and so on and so forth. And if you go through add-ons, the process mining is a bit like different licensing and different functionality, and this is also different application. Yes, right now or a couple weeks ago, there was this capability of having this process map have like ingested or imported into the Power Automate flows as we know it, but the aim of this tool is a little bit different. I hope I made this distinction a little bit more clear. And I want to address also the last question that is in there: when should we use Power Automate versus Azure Logic apps? To put it in a very simple way, I think I will repeat also what Mohammed said, is about the business problem which we are trying to address. For me, like this Azure Logic Apps is more like pro dev solution and works with like on an Azure level. The Power Automate is more on a like business user level. And right now we have even the, I would say, the third element for the potential automations, which is this Copilot Studio, or create some kind of let's say flows for these least technical business users via these copilots. So for me, there are like even 3 layers for automating something. For pro devs and working directly from the data, and you have access to Azure and sufficient knowledge, go with Azure Logic Apps. If you are like a business user like that is semi-technical, go with Power Automate, and in case it is needed, sometimes go even with this like Copilot Studio or M365 Copilot. And this application like Power Automate Process Mining is embedded to Power Automate. It is different to this kind of flows as you know them, but I know Microsoft is right now working on ingesting some of the functionalities, some of these functionalities from this desktop application into the Power Automate flows as you know them. All right, I would say my time is up. Thank you very much for this space, for the opportunities. In case there are some questions, feel free to address them. I would be happy to discuss.